Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Deku and Marcy. These two have had a very complicated relationship as they have traveled and gone through the wasteland. Now, they came to the Khan's encampment. They met with Papa Khan, and he saw exactly how these two were. Deku was a very powerful man, and from what he does understand, he does not take shit. He is well aware of things that are not seen plainly. He was aware that there was a man who was a part of the Legion in that room just by smelling the air, and that was quite the trick he pulled. He also is a highly resilient killing machine, considering the fact that, from what he understands, Deku murdered a Deathclaw by ripping out its organs in a fight. And that is no easy feat. The man was highly impressed, and Deku and Marcy participated in an event the Khans had. They were drinking chems, and anyone can step into the arena to fight. And a man, he wanted to do just that. Chance. He decided to talk a lot of smack. He also decided, during his fight with Izuku, to throw his own life on the line. He pulled a knife on Deku, and while Izuku did have his claws, he wasn't using them in the brawl. It wasn't until Chance started to fight for life that Deku began to fight for his own, and he did not let up. Eventually, Deku murdered that man and got a stim pack from one of his friends, where he was then taken back to his tent, considering the fact that his injuries, yeah, they were definitely harsh. And even though he just got done healing earlier today, he now does have a few more wounds to nurse. However, he wasn't going to be doing that alone. Marcy was there with him, and Chloe was trying to sort the situation with the Khans. Everybody saw Chance pull the knife first, and because of that, Deku has some leeway. The man tried to attack him. People saw him approach Deku and talk shit. I mean, she knows these two have never met. Deku just got there today, so this guy should have had no reason to fight him. And everything came smooth afterwards. Deku was not held accountable. And he found that out the next morning when he found Chance's knife and a note left by Chloe. And after, well, Marcy and him woke up together on his side of the tent. Deku and Marcy, they were able to find a little bit of solace, find a way to rest. They're not monsters, they're mutants. Deku has one thing she doesn't. He believes they'll find home. And those ideas are exactly what Marcy needs to remember. But believing them? Yeah. Not too sure she's there yet. And we do have a few days later. Currently day 380. Where Deku, he does go to wake up. Currently, him waking up and going to turn. Feeling Marcy with her arm currently laid over his shoulder as he does go to stare. She's still here. Apparently, she doesn't like being on her side. Can't blame her. The days are hot and the nights get very cold. It's not bad though. Having someone over here, Izuku Gunas won't sit up, turning and looking around the small tent. Their bags, their weapons, and, well, the empty whiskey bottle right now behind him. Okay, there's definitely a lot they've got to do today. his wounds are healed up again, and hopefully he's not going to be stabbed again. I'm going to turn, grabbing the knife and going to put it on his side as he's to climb over Marcy, stepping out and going to get a whiff of breakfast. Him going to stretch and walk over, looking down at the canyon. A lot going through his mind. They've got to find Vault 16. There's a lot they've got to talk about. Now they've actually had some downtime. A place to rest, a place to talk, a place to just sit down and gather their thoughts where it's safe. I mean, the cons will cover for them if the Enclave does decide to try and come here, but this group is big. Really big. And they won't take that risk. They'll be too exposed. And that's their problem. They're safe at the canyon. And that has led Marcy to a little bit of speculation, especially whenever it does come to her and her particular chem of choice. Now, we do have Izuku, who does sit there recording his audio log as Marcy does go to wake up. Currently, her gonna bring her hands up in somewhat stretch before she does gonna have her wings go to fully expand. Them going to fold back down and around her torso. Them laying flat against her back before wrapping around to the front. And she does gonna somewhat have them hooked together in the front. Right now thinking about what she can do. Okay. She certainly needs to do a bit. Shit, is she late? Uh, no, it's still a little before 7. Okay. He must be out recording his log. Yeah, no, she can hear him. Right. So what does that mean? A few things go through her mind. We do have Izuku, who does go to flip his log to a close as he does go over a little bit of information they've gone over in the last several days. Currently, I'm going to turn, and Chloe does come walking up the hill. Her going to see Deku sitting on a rock with his boots on, his pants on, and missing his vest. Before, he does also have that knife on his waist. Currently, her expressing, bring up a piece of meat, tossing it over to him, that she hopes she wasn't interrupting something. You're fine. What's up? Not much. Is she awake? Pretty sure she is. I heard movement in the tent. I'm awake, you asses. Her stepping out. Before they do, girls won't gather around the rock. Marcy getting some meat from Chloe. And all of them do begin to somewhat talk. Before they do brief themselves on everything. Today's the day they head out to Vault 3. They find out what's going on there, and they check to see if there's an experiment. I mean, they've already heard a few things about what happened at a few other vaults. It's going to be simple. Vault 22 had an experiment. Vault 21 was on the strip, so they don't know much about it. All they know is it was turned into a hotel. Then there's their vault, which the more they've pieced together about it, and the more the Enclave being right there outside the front door, it does begin to show a bit of favoritism. Their vault was part of an experiment, and they, enhanced super soldiers, are the result of it. Yeah, definitely a little bad when you put it that way. If they do find more evidence to support this claim, then Vault 3 should be the same. As for what they could have done, it isn't good. And Deku does even bring up another thing that he saw. back at Vault 22. They might not have been there long, but when Marcy went back, she noted on the terminals they saw there was no mention about coordinating efforts with other vaults. There was no mention of any other vaults in Vegas. I mean, not even mention of 21, the one that was put on the strip. I mean, that would be a big deal, the most notoriable one they could have had. But nothing. Was this vault never meant to open? Was it never meant to even be active for as long as it was? There are some inconsistencies. I mean, yes, their vault had certain information, but that was that was stupid. Okay, going under the assumption that they don't know, there's still a few other flaws. There was no armory that was apparent. I mean, Vault 21, if it was turned into a hotel, it must have had an armory, right? Ordnance, firepower they could have used, things the residents could have had to be prepared for the outside world. There's just a lot happening. The more they look into these vaults, the more they're beginning to find out. And the idea that they were experiments, it does begin to narrow his point of view, especially after the stuff they've heard about other vaults from outside Vegas. And that certainly does mean quite a bit. Now, the three dudes won't stand there, eating breakfast before the topic does so much shift. Deku bringing things over to another idea Marcy has thought of. One that does pique his interest, because there's a lot of things they can do with it strategically, along with the implications they might have. It could do some good for all of them. Marcy talking about a few things. Okay, so still though, if we're talking about Vault 3, I did want to bring something up. What's up? What is it, Izuku? What about that one thing you mentioned? You gotta be more specific. The the idea, you know, you were gonna bring it up to Chloe. Bring up what? He doesn't. Well, it's a bit of a theory I'm working on. You know, maybe not yet. My data isn't exactly good. Okay, you know, I'm a big girl, right? Besides, I could just give you some mentats. You'll spill your beans anyways. Hey, don't you dare. Last time you gave me some of those weird ass mentats, I was talking nonstop. She really was. She didn't stop talking for 3 hours. Shut up. Really? So, if you think I slipped them into her canteen, how chatty do you think she'll be? I hate you both. Come on, Chatterbox, come on. Don't you want to find out? Shut up. Okay, fine, I'll tell her. Chloe, I don't have good data, but so far I've come to a conclusion. You know how we've all been trying to think about this nature of ours? Our wild sides, I guess? The beast? Well, I guess instincts would be better. Okay. Let me try to explain it. Currently, her going to bend down and sit on the ground before going to begin a draw with her talon. Talking about it. Okay, so this line is their sides. On this side, you have human. Her bring up her left hand. On this side, you have, well, you know. The animal. Right now, thanks to their exposure to the viruses or whatever they were exposed to, the strange of the FEV, they're somewhere here. Her beginning to draw lines with both of her hands before they do lead directly into the middle. Talking about it. Her taking the two lines and then going to circle them around the middle. Talking about how there's somewhere in this bubble a strange little mix of human and beast. Uh-huh. Okay, I do somewhat get it. Right. So far, what I do understand, there are a number of things that we've seen affect us. When we get into gunfights and our adrenaline spikes, we fight. When we get aggressive, we fight or we just get agitated. Then we also do start to mutate further. As far as I'm aware, they want soldiers, people who can thrive in combat, people who they're willing to do a lot of things. Okay, I think I get it. So, what do you mean? Well, okay, so the more we begin to fall into certain things, the more exposed to other elements we do have. I mean, take Tommy. Tommy was isolated. He didn't have people around, sociability, and the factor of companionship. He was alone. He inevitably mutated, but at the same time, we believe his mental instability may have helped keep him from going full bloatfly. So he'd be over here. Her pointing more outside that circle before Marcy does go talk about it. Maybe. They don't fully know. I mean, there's the idea that they were over here too. I mean, her wings were easily a few feet wider. She was bigger. So was she. And Deku used to be a lot more Deathclaw like. Uh huh. So, do you have an explanation for that at the very least? Like, I mean, I'm glad I don't have a snake face, but come on, that's what I'm trying to figure out. All these factors are stressing Marcy, stressing me out. Oh my god. You just come with a breakthrough, Marcy? I think so. Agitation, stress is something that we have. Heightened emotions and other elements like that. A soldier has to follow orders, do certain things, be in combat. But if they had control over us and could implement certain elements, get rises out of our mental states. Hmm. I think I might have just found another piece of the pie. So what? They piss us off and we get more feral? Maybe, but there's still a lot to go over. It's more than that. They knew they couldn't do things properly. They might not even know fully how to predict us, how to control us. You're right. You're right. Though, then what should we do now? I'd say we head off to Vault 3. I've got to write some of this down. You know, keep it cataloged off the records. Go for it. Her gonna turn before strolling back over to the tent and climbing inside. Chloe turning, asking exactly if things have been good. Hmm? Yeah, they have been. Why? You know, I'm just saying. She seems in a better mood. And so do you. I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, you guys are sharing a tent. Plus, you know, people do tend to talk a little bit. I mean, I'm not judging Marcy, but I didn't think she was the religious type. Now I know you're fucking with me. Damn it. So, it must have been someone else then. Could have been. Though, I'm pretty sure I heard that too. And if I'm wrong, wasn't it coming from the other tents? About a few down? Maybe my hearing's off. So, you can't be saying that there's seriously nothing going on between you two? Uh, I wouldn't really say it like that. Okay, so what would you say? I'd tell you that it's complicated. Sure, fine, whatever. We gonna go to the armory? Yeah, we are. Morrissey going to come back to the two, and they do to head out. Right now, all of them going right down to the armory for the cons. And Izuku, when he has to walk down those stairs, he does go to see one simple little thing. A massive cage filled with weapons and ammunition. And this, it does make his eyes go wide. Because this feels like Christmas, except with a lot more firepower. He does miss the vaults, and right now he has to see the cons. Currently, a woman's staying there as she has a turn to a man. Her going to tell him to look a bit alive, since they do get some guests here at the armory. Her gonna turn and ask Chloe exactly what the fuck she might be needing. Cause if she's not buying, then she better get out of her face. And she just won't step forwards, introducing her friends. Talking about the guy who killed a Deathclaw and the one she talked about who was screaming all over, well, the canyons. And the woman just won't stare at these two. Her looking at Marcy before she just stare at her ears. Looking towards Izuku, and her eyes do look a little bit more intrigued. Especially when Deku just cross his arms and stand there. Her looking at the scars he does carry. And this, she can kind of respect. I mean, killing a Deathclaw, ballsy, power. They need that type of shit. So what? Going on the Vault 3 job? These are the two you're taking? They're taking me. I need a few things. 12 gauge, 9 millimeter Izuku. 5.5. Uh, then there's 5.56. Alright. Is that it? 308 if you got it. Hollow points. They would probably be a good improvement. Marcy? Hmm? Oh, 10 millimeter. And 308. Right. You comfortable with just using the regular? I mean, Izuku's weapon's a little bit closer. So, you know, you want the armor piercing? You can take that. Besides, if I get too close with that, then, hell, might as well switch to melee. Jesus. Yeah, maybe. So I'll take the armor piercing, you take the hollow point? I mean, unless you want them. Whatever. Just stick to your assault rifle? I can do that, but I didn't want to put Tommy's gun through its paces. Make sure those repairs are going to hold up. We can test it later. Then I'm going back, and the woman does begin to give them exactly what they asked for. A lot of firepower with this ammunition. And they do get to head out. Currently them heading to Vault 3 and talking along the way. Plans to try and get into the strip. I mean, right now that puts them back a few hundred caps. And That has them worried. Deku and Marcy were already down by a few hundred. That fee to get inside was 4,000. Now it's 6. And the amount of caps they have currently, it is somewhere in the ballpark of around 2,600. They don't even have half the caps to pay for all of them. So they've got to figure out a deal, something to do. Chloe's been a little tight-lipped about how much cash she has, or how many caps she has. So, make her pay her own entrance fee, that seems appropriate. But even then, they'd only have enough for one person to get into the strip. So, that's another issue, another problem they got. And it does get somewhat negative to his mind. Before he does talk a little out loud, expressing. They do need to actually form a bit of a plan. He's putting it over in his head, and Gamora seems like a safe bet. Heading there is a little iffy, though. Really now. Just saying. It seems so. I mean, you can pay your way in, Chloe, right? 2,000 caps? Yeah, fuck that. We can find another way. I mean, I have an idea, but it's a little bit more risky. Besides, the NCR, we'd be cutting it awfully close to being caught. Plus, there's a bit of another problem. Like, I know her going to stop, turning and bringing her hands up, going invisible, talking about how they have to hide in plain sight, turning back visible, around a bunch of trained soldiers. The NCR might pussyfoot around with a lot of shit, but some of these guys, they can't underestimate. I mean, that just make the how does the saying go? That just make an ass out of both of them, if not all of them. Right, right. Okay, I get that. But what's this plan of yours? NCR has a bit of a supply line. They'll sometimes transport soldiers, and from what I hear, other things from Camp McCarran to the Strip. I mean, the embassy is important, I guess. From what I've heard, they have one at Vegas. If we can sneak aboard the monorail, then we can get directly inside the Strip. Those Securitrons, you said they were called? Yeah, they were. Okay, yeah. The Securitrons, they'll see us exit. They'll think that we're NCR or, well, something else. We flagged in their system as not being a threat. We're not going in, we're coming out. So you're saying they'll give us the VIP pass because they'll think we already paid. Right. That's another idea. I could try to hack one of the robots. Then I'm looking at Marcy, her expressing. She does have robotic experience. I mean, it's like a giant computer that walks and could kill you. Yeah, but do you really think that one of those things will just let you rewire another one? Maybe not. But I'm just saying, it is a possibility. I mean, going off of what you say, the NCR, Mr. House, the strip, it being locked down for higher profile people, it means a lot. If we do what you're suggesting, Chloe, then it's a big risk. But paying all that money, that'll leave us broke and leave us kind of desperate. We ought to try and scavenge what we can, sell what we can. And, well, look at us right now. We're well armed, got some medical supplies, and we need more money. We don't know what we'll find at Vault 3, so we need to be careful. Right. Being careful is the least of our worries. Right now, though, we got a bit of another problem. Chloe and Marcy still discussing a few things, going back and forth. Hacking a robot is a possible idea. Get a Securitron on their side and find a way to get further into the network. It can be overcomplicated, maybe too much, maybe not enough, yada yada yada. Chloe's idea: walk into a NCR stronghold and take their train to the strip. Yeah, because his horns, his tail, his claws, his eyes, his teeth, they won't be dead fucking ringers, right? Along with the fact that Chloe's entire personality might be a dead giveaway. Yeah, sure. She draws too much attention, and that is another problem. All of them have traits of animals. Those aren't exactly things that you can just hide easy. And right now, Deku, he does still stand there, looking over the area. Right now, they've arrived just outside where Vault 3 is said to be. And Izuku, he does take a whiff of the air. And that smell, it smells so familiar. It smells almost delicious. But it's wrong. Something about it is wrong. It's burned. No, no, no. Does that smell like almost like pork, but no seasonings, no anything? Him looking, seeing some fires currently still somewhat smoldering. And the three, they do get a head further down. Right now approaching one of the doors, they just see, currently them with their weapons hot and ready. Though when they do just step inside, they do begin to see what remains of the fiends who are outside the vault. And that, it's a little horrifying. I mean, there's burn piles, there's people just, oh god. Them staring down. And then they return. Rhino seeing a head firmly planted on a spike. And it does sit there facing out in the middle of the field. Currently, it's staring at the piles of the burned fiends. And that it does have them all horrified. And there's Izuku. He does a look at this area before he's at turn. Right now, him sniffing the air. And that smell, it's coming from here. This is the source of it. There's no survivors. He can't smell anything other than this. He can't hear anything. There were supposed to be fiends. Dozens of fiends here, but they're not. I mean, this is just a bloodbath. Him going to turn. And there's Chloe, who does go to stare at this before she turn herself and walk away. And Marcy, she's going to do so as well. Right now, all of them trying to put this out of their mind. Though Izuku, he does get a walkover. Currently, him entering the building that he was told about. Before they see a vault door. And this, it feels a little nostalgic. A year ago, they were standing outside their own. Now they're here. That nostalgia should feel good. But right now, it just doesn't. And all of them, they do a turn looking at the console. Deku walking over and beginning to look at the controls. Seeing a few things are... shit. What's wrong? Is something the matter? Okay, this is all bad. A lot of these controls are shot, weathered. Wiring's bad. Hang on. Some of it might. Lights are still on. Uh, hello? What? Hello? Who is this? Hey, we're here for a delivery. Your guys' radio is still working, right? You're picking me up? Loud and clear. Delivery? Seriously, that's not funny. Who the fuck is this? What's the password? We're cons. We're here to make a delivery. Sign contracts, discuss new terms. With your boss. Okay, but no, seriously. Who's out there? Cons. Okay. You're not funny. We're not trying to be funny. Open up. We have a deal to discuss with your boss. Or do you guys not want your fix? Heard you guys have been pretty strung out lately. You guys have a fight with your friends, or just the crazy ones? Please. All the junkies outside, a little too crazy for even our blood. But, you're cons, right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll talk to my boss. See what we can do. Though I doubt he wants to open the store. Especially right now. You best, run. To tell you what, I'll radio to him, and he might give you guys a 5-minute head start. And if we don't run? What do you mean? What if we have an army out here? Deku pressing off the button, turning as Marcy and Chloe do to stare at him. Before talking about it, does he really want to try and antagonize a junkie? No, I have a bit of an idea. Just let's look at this. I think I can get him to open the door. Seriously, Izuku? Yeah. Are you sure you can? I'm pretty sure I could. Think about it. These guys are strung out, right? Locked underground for God knows how many days, running out of chems. They need a fix. I tell you what, if I was locked underground and I only had a little bit left of what was making me happy or keeping me sane, in their case, I'd be careful. You gotta think. They'd fight. They'd want more of it. And if you saw someone holding your golden ticket, wouldn't you fight for that golden ticket? I see your point. But seriously, do you really want to try and get him to open the door? Oh, well, hang on a second. Marcy turning, talking about it. This could be good. The console's shot, right? Uh, Repairs are bad on it. It looks like someone smashed it. Really? Yeah, it does. I might be able to get it working again, but I need some wiring. Good wiring. And this is all kind of choppy and bad. Okay, so. Hello? So what now? Tell you what, I'd put money down I can get him to open the door. Seriously? Yeah, come on. Any takers? 300 caps? 300, Chloe? So you do got some money. Come on, I'm serious. Hello? Deku turning, telling her. 400? 450. Got it. I'll take that bet. Sorry, just discussing things with my associates out here. Listen, man, we hauled quite a bit of chems all our way, and we weren't planning on heading back. Either you take some of them, or, well, you know, we head off to West Side, maybe Vegas, maybe a few other places. See about new prospects. You understand? Prospect what? New places to go. I mean, clearly you don't want any of the stuff we got. Well, what do you got? Hmm, So you're saying you might want to buy? Never said that. Though, your inventory's got to be pretty light. No, I wouldn't say that. We got some pretty good stuff. I mean, we got some Buff Al, Buff Tats, comics. I'm more of a comics guy myself. Though, we also got some Daddy-O if you're really looking for a good little experience. Got some Hydra. Or are you more of a Jet guy? Well, do you got any? No, no, hang on. You might be classy, I want to experience some real good shit. Jet fuel? I hear that shit does wonders. Or are you more of a psycho? Listen, man. Psycho tats? Psycho buff? What do you need? Let us remedy your woes. Deku going to take his hand off the button for his turn, staring at the two, and Marcy isn't too sure if that's actually going to work. And Chloe just stand there, her arms crossed, and Deku does gotta bring his finger up talking about it. Just watch, just watch. He's already set the line, just gotta reel him in. Hello? Hello? Yeah? So are you gonna open up? Listen, we'll open up, but our boss might not like to speak to you. Alright? Send in 2 of your people. We don't want to deal with too many of you. Will your people stand down? We will. We'll send in the heads of our group. My turn. Telling Chloe. Right now she'll follow them in camouflaged. Him and Marcy will head inside as well. It's gonna be easy. The door, they don't know if it can be opened from the outside. And that's another problem. Until this panel's repaired, they might be locked in. Or, well, locked out. So what they've got to do is fix this. Take out whoever's in charge, and then come back here. See about proper repairs? Right. I can do that. We're going to camouflage. Before Marcy does that talk about it, beginning to see the vault door open. She can't believe that actually worked. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick. Besides, wasn't that hard to figure out? It was pretty good. Honestly, surprised he did pull it. How'd you know it would work? Peeled a little bit to them. Whenever I used to take Psycho, sometimes I would grind my teeth a little. Yeah, I noticed. It just, it helped not to try and think about it, but that shit was pretty potent. So I just listed off some chems I knew were addictive. And some I knew were a little fun. How do you know that they're fun? Hey, calm down. I've never actually taken jet fuel. Really? Yeah. Some of that shit I'm skeptical on. You really should try it. Chloe, shut up. Just saying. Currently, her gonna step in, slipping her way in front of Deku and Marcy. Them hearing her steps, along with trying to track the small sound of her heartbeat that they can. And whenever the cons, I messed that up. Whenever the cons do go to walk into the vault, the fiends do try to eye these two up. And they're certainly interesting. Apparently, the cons are doing something different. And this is something the fiends do get a look at. Deku and Marcy with their bags currently over their shoulders. The men and the women staying there talking about a few things, since they do want to know exactly how this is going to go. If things go right, they get a fix and things go swimmingly. If they go wrong, well, they get their fix and they get to play with some cons. So that could be fun. Hell, fun for the whole goddamn group. And that's currently going through the person's mind as the cons do go to walk by. And Izuku and Marcy, they do just don't get some strange looks, though they do show off that they are well armed, and the cons should definitely be on their best behavior. Currently, Izuku, with his assault rifle in his hand, his knife on his waist, and a pistol and a rifle on his back. Well, Mercy, she does have that sniper rifle on her back, along with that 10mm pistol, and she does show off quite clearly she might have less weapons, but yeah, those claws in her hands you might not want to get too close to, since they look awfully sharp. Now, we do have where they do get taken down by a con, them heading to the levels further in the vault, before heading down into the area where the power supply for the vault is. Then looking around, it's a little nostalgic. Their vault wasn't set up the same way, but this one is certainly small. And when the door doesn't open, they just see a man sitting there in a suit of power armor. Currently, him looking up and turning. Before the two do get a step inside, him with an arc welder's mask on his face. And he has his own stand, talking about it. So these are the cons who came to broker a deal. Is that what he's understanding? Cook, bring the mask up and off of his head before expressing. So, what do they got? A few simple little chems, or, well, something good? He heard they have quite a bit of shit. We're here to discuss rates. Okay. You're not the one in a suit of power armor. I make the rules now. I'm in charge. You don't like it, then we'll have problems. Do you understand? Take a look with the man. And he does go to lower this back down, expressing there's a lot that he controls now. This vault is one of them. Pretty damn soon, he does have plans to expand. Maybe even make this place a proper fucking camp and see what they can do. See how far the fiends can actually go. Especially with some proper guidance and some proper goddamn violence. The NCR will have a massive thorn in their fucking side. And this, it does make Deku stare at the man before he's a step forwards, expressing they weren't asking nicely. Right now, there's a lot that needs to happen. The man staring at Deku, before noticing his horns do somewhat begin to grow a little larger. And then there's the fact that he does look bigger. Okay, so that's a little strange. Currently, him talking about it, looking down at Izuku, but actually beginning to see the difference. Did he grow in size? No, that just must be his eyes. Though, the pretty little thing next to him with the ears. He could find some use for her. Weird nose, but it might be manageable. Him turning, for bring a hand out towards Marcy. And Deku does get to bring up his right hand, currently grabbing the raider arm and talking about it. They're here to discuss rates. And the man does a turn looking at Deku, before he does seem a little bit more surprised. I mean, he's seriously trying to. Currently, Cook going to turn, telling them, okay, he's done humoring him. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to be shot, and she is going to stay here. Hell, maybe put her with the other fucking prisoners. See what they can do. Send a message directly to the cons himself. See exactly how they react then. And that does tell Deku one thing. Right now, him going to tell him that's not going to happen. And Cook, here's that turn. Right now, going to throw Deku across the room with the back of his hand. Him being sent flying and smashing into the wall. Before he's that turn, bring his hand out to grab Marcy. Her, right now, screaming directly at the man before he has to bring his hands up to cover his ears. And she's a turn, pulling her pistol and firing at one of the guards. Her smashing him in the face as she has a turn. Right now, her gonna fire at another guard as Deku does get back to his feet, pulling his rifle and going to pull in and chamber around. The battle rifle having a round inside. And the man has a turn. Him looking at Marcy for Deku is to fire a shot. Currently, him hitting the man in the shoulder as the bullet is a ricochet. Him turning to see Deku, who does go to rechamber another round. Currently, him on with his knees talking about it. The next round's going to go through his head. Right now, they came to talk, and if he doesn't want to talk, then they're going to kill every fucking fiend inside this vault. Does he get it? And the man, he does look at Deku. The eyes of a predator. The eyes of a killer. The eyes of, fuck, where has this kid been? And this does make the man smile a sadistic grin. Currently, him going to do one very simple thing. Bring the arm up of his power armor and backhanding Deku, sending him flying across the room as he's a turn, using his left hand to try and reach out for Marcy. And Marcy immediately starts scream out as loud as she can. It vibrating through the room as the man, he is stunned. Right now, him and his suit of power armor being shoved backwards as he does get a recoil, bringing the massive hands up to his ears. Currently, the people in the room also doing the exact same thing. For Marcy doesn't stop screaming, her sucking in her breath and turning. As Izuku, he does go to do one thing. He grabbed his pistol and sat up. Right now, him firing at the one fiend who stood there, before Marcy fired at the other. And Izuku, he turned, yelling for Marcy to give the order. And there was Chloe, who was outside. Right now, she stood there as two fiends. They had guard duty. They heard those sounds, and then things, they seemed to be getting a little bit more interesting. The room was locked, and Chloe, she was going to uncamouflage. Right now, the two turning when they heard that sound, for Chloe does a step forwards, expressing, okay, so she's got a few ideas, then both turning back and seeing her, as she's going to hold up a gun in one hand and hold up the jet fuel in the other. Talking about it. She's got some chems right here. Her rattling it in her hand. Talking about it. Tossing it to the ground. And the two do a look at the container and look back at her. For they look at each other, and Chloe does go to watch the two go to somewhat begin a fight. Now, when the two do go to do that, she's to do one thing. Currently, her turning and looking at some of the other fiends. Right now, them begin to charge down the hallway as she does go to camouflage, moving back into the shadows. And when they go to run up on these two, both fighting, they do begin to yell, screaming about what's happening. And there it is back inside that room, where Deku, he got to his feet and began to blast out at Cook. Right now, him spraying his assault rifle into the man's power armor, as he does go to hold up his arm, blocking his face. And Deku, he does go to reload. Him putting in the armor piercing and pulling back a slide, firing out more as the man, he does a turn, walking over and grabbing his incinerator before he is being sprayed around the room and try to hit everybody. At this point, it doesn't matter. He's the only one who should be left alive. And there was Marcy, who she went moving back and trying to get into cover. The room is small, limited, and that flamer has a wide range. So, they need a plan. Currently her making her way back over to the door. and going to begin twisting it open as there is the man, who is at turn looking to at her. And Deku, he has to fire out a shot. Currently, it smashing into Kokok as he's a turn. Him holding up his rifle, for he's to do one thing. He does go to call the man a pussy, since he is hiding that goddamn suit of power armor like a whiny little bitch. Now, the man does get a turn. Him annoyed and enraged at Deku. And Izuku, he does go to hold onto his rifle before finding that this doesn't fit in his hands properly anymore. And he does not fully step out and turn, looking at the man who does stare at the mutant. Him confused. Marcy spinning open the rest of the door and pulling it open. Before she had to turn and Deku to tell her to begin clearing the vaults. This is his battle. And Cook, he does go to drop his weapon. Talking about it. Well, he's always wanted to see if this suit can be put through some fucking paces. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on, but at this point, he's done a lot of good shit. So, what exactly can they put him through? God, this is gonna be fun. And the man, he has to move forwards. And Izuku does have Marcy's words ringing in his mind. Stress, rage, adrenaline. A few things like that. Exactly what he needs to focus on to increase that nature, increase the aggression, and bring out more of that power. I mean, it's a good idea. And this guy's in power armor. If he can't overcome that little barrier, then he might die here. And that is not good. Right now, him and Kokok clashing. The man easily being able to grab Izuku and turn. Right now, seeing him smashing into the wall as Deku, he does it bring up his feet, currently shoving off of it and trying to force the man to the ground. However, Kokok, he does feel Deku slice into the plates of his power armor. Before the two, they do go to spin around the room. Currently, Cook tossing Deku to the ground and him smashing down, for turning and bringing up Chance's knife. Currently, him slashing out and slicing into and cutting sparks into the chess piece. Before he does, going to move forwards with his left hand, slashing out his claws, for he's to do one thing. Cook is to throw a wild right. Izuku going to move in and bring his hand up. Run on him, jamming the knife upwards into one of the pieces he does see an opening. Currently sliding between the scrap metal and into the armor. And Kokok does begin to scream. Him bringing his left arm up and going to grab Deku by one of his horns. Before he does begin to crush down and pull. And Izuku, he does get scream as well. Them hearing those sounds as the horn, it does be ripped off of Deku's head. Him feeling the pain and blood beginning to pour down. And Izuku, he does it to back away. Cook going to hold on to this piece as the knife is pulled free and blood is spurting out of that armor. And the man, he does it to hold this little trophy. No. This own little weapon of his. They're real. Hot damn, they're fucking real. And that has him full of questions. Though, he doesn't really care. He just wants to kill this bastard. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part. And please go look over at my community tab, because I'm going to have to make a post explaining something that is highly annoying to deal with.